Hello and welcome. Adita Lang here, and in today's strength and bodyweight class, well, we are working posture. A little bit of shoulders and back, a little bit of core, all to look good, stand up tall, and just, be balanced on our feet. What can I say? So with that said, in today's class, you'll be needing a tubing band with handles and a light set of weight and a mat. Also, you want a nice cleared out area, nothing to get into your way, water close by, take breaks when you need to, and, let's just get started. Step touch. Now, with that said, let's talk posture, because that's really what this whole class is about. So your shoulder blades, just envision your shoulder blades, they're sitting there. I want you to pull them back and then squeeze them back in together. So they kind of aim to the back. When they do that, this lifts your chest up. Now, at the same time, the ribs open up a little bit, so now squeeze the ribs in ever so slightly so you've engaged your abdominals as we're moving. So now everything stays there. We're gonna keep that. Stepping in. Add a leg curl here. Now, as you're moving, it's full inhale and a full exhale. So you're breathing rhythmically with the movements we're doing. And reach forward. We are warming up, increasing the circulation of our body so we can do all the cool things we're about to do. Now, drop the toe, reach across the chest. Full inhale, full exhale. You have 4 and 3. 2 and 1. Leg curl again. Simply turn to one side. We call this a rocking horse. You have 4 and 3. 2 and 1. Now hold here, drop the heel and roll up and down. Roll up and down. Holding right here. And just lunge forward, feeling the stretch in your calf. Deep breath. Exhale. Now turn to the front, toes come up, sitting down in the right leg and hinge so you feel the stretch in the hamstring. Deep breath. And exhale. Hold. Now the other side. Roll through the foot. And up. And up. One more time. Hold here and lunge. Turning to the front, toes up, sitting down, and hold. You're hinging. And now step touch. Chest is up tall, simply turning and adding your rocking horse here. Now, let's take this into a little bit more balance work. One leg at a time. Think about shifting your weight as you do your leg curl. And shift, shift. Reach the arm out. And now lift the knee. And up, up. One more time. Now shift, shift. Giving yourself this little split-second pause before you switch legs. Now back up. And up, up. 4 more. 3. And 2, now 1. Reach across the chest. And slowly bring the legs for landing. And reach across the chest. Across the chest, sitting up nice and tall. Again, tap the toe. And back down. 1 more. Now come center and bring yourself into a side stretch. Pull down and reach and pull and reach. 1 more and pull, release, other side, up and pull down and reach and pull down. 1 more and release, shake the arms out. Okay, so let's start with our tubing. Now, the first things first, when you have a new band or an old band, I want you to run your fingers through the band. And if you feel anything that feels like it's attaching or it's broken or cut, then you're going to stop and get a different band. So we want to make sure our band is solid. Now, for whatever reason, I must have stepped on something. So you might see a couple of black marks on my band, but that doesn't mean it's broken. We have that solid. So now, stepping on the band. Here's what I'd like you to do. Your feet are hip distance. I want you to grab into your band so that it feels kind of tough. Now, chest is up tall, small bend in the knees, keep the knees that way, hinge forward, and squeeze your shoulder blades back. We call this retraction. And release and squeeze. Now, while we are doing this move, your tailbone is aiming back, your chest is forward, so you hold neutral spine, and the only place that you're bent from is from your hip joint. We call that the hinge. Now, if this feels too easy, I want you to grab further into your band, and if it feels too difficult, then try to grab closer to the handles, or if not, grab the handles. 4 more. And 3. Now 2. And 1. Release the band. Let's place that to the side. Now hands on the hips. So your hips are parallel to the floor. Think about bending the left leg. Now you can hold on to a chair or a wall, or you can use a focal point, of which you are mine. So now the knee is bent, hips are parallel. Simply lift the hip joint and lower. And again, lift and down. Trying to keep your foot off the ground, but if you have to touch ground every once in a while, that's okay too. Utilizing all your toes of your right foot to help stabilize you. Pull in from your center, up and down. We have 4 and 3. Now 2 and 1. Release. The other side. Now same thing. Lift and lower. Big deep breath and exhale. Up and down. There we go. Feel your hips move. And if you're using a focal point, you want a focal point that's staying still. So I might not be your best focal point. Maybe stare up at the edges of the screen or something that's on the wall that's stationary. 1 more. And release. Let's reach for our band again. Underneath the arch of both feet. Grabbing into the band so we have some tension. And hinge. So tailbone goes back. You should feel tension here. Now squeeze just the shoulder blades. And I want you to notice, the goal here is not to change what's happening with your elbows. So my elbows go along for the ride. I'm not bending and straightening, I'm just keeping them stationary. So the only thing that moves is my shoulder joints together. Maybe that didn't sound right. I meant my shoulder blades together. There you go. Tailbone is back. Remember, we're keeping neutral spine, and you're hinged at the hip. 5 more. And 4. 3. 2. And 1. Release the tubing. Hands back at the hip joints. You can hold on if you need to. Left leg is bent, and lift and lower for a hip hike. Up and down. Bracing from your center. Full inhale, full exhale. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other side. Bend the leg and lift. Inhale and exhale. Take your time. You don't have to be at the same cadence as me. I want you to use your breath to help you move, but use your balance and stability as your indicator if you're moving too slow or too fast. 1 more. And up, yes. Okay, this is a great time to grab some water, and let's bring our mat to the floor. Keeping the dumbbells close by. There we go. Taking both legs out. We'll start here. Your feet are hip distance. Big deep breath and exhale and hinge. Again, inhale and exhale. And release. So I'm going to go sideways. And remember the hinge we spoke about? The hinge is a movement from the hip joint as opposed to the middle of the back. So I want you to think about sitting up tall here. If you feel like you're tucked under because you don't have a lot of flexibility, you can always roll up your mat or sit on a towel to just elevate you a couple of inches. A lot of times that helps. So we're sitting as tall as we can from the hip joint up. Shoulder blades are back and down, chest is up. Knees are slightly bent, hands at genie position. So now, brace from your center and hinge back and forward. So again, the movement comes from the hip joint, and as you're moving, that's when you brace in from your center the most. Inhale one way, exhale the other. Five. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, with the use of our band, you can sit any way you want. Your legs can be out, they can be crossed. Holding onto the band with one arm, and the other hand will loop the band so that we can hold it as our support. So my right arm stays forward, my left arm goes back, bending 90 degrees, opening wide to the side and forward. I'm going to need a little bit more resistance. Press back. So you're working the back of your shoulders. So now even though your arm is up, I still need you to hold your shoulder blades down and back. Chest is tall. Inhale one way, exhale the other. And pull. 5 more. 4. And 3, 2, and 1. So the same thing on the other side. Thumbs are up, left arm stabilizes, and out to the side. Opening wide. So when you open wide, you notice that your wrist stays basically above the elbow as opposed to the arm being in here by your shoulder. So you're opening out to the side. 4 more. And 3, 2, and 1. Place that back to the floor. Let's do one more round. So chest is up tall. Remember, we're lengthening from here, keeping our neutral spine. Chest up and hinge from your hip joint back and up. And as you move, you're bracing in, pulling in from the rib cage so the abdominals are fully engaged. And here's what I'd like you to do is every single time you move, I want you to try to go a little further back, but again, only moving from the hip joint. 4 more. And 3. Now 2. And 1. Back to the front. Holding on to our tubing, chest up tall, and pull to the side. There we go. Inhale one way, exhale the other. Actually, let's take a little bit more. Yes. And 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. The other side. Chest is up, shoulders are back and down, opening wide to the side. Inhale and exhale. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the tubing down and away. So let's bring ourselves over to the side, roll onto your back. Both knees come into the chest first, just because it feels good. And slowly cross one foot over the knee into a figure 4, hold here. And the other side. Now both feet down, hands behind the head, and starting off with a basic crunch. I'd like you to hover off the floor. So that means you're about an inch off the ground. Now feel the weight of your head in your hands. So use your head, feel the weight of the head in the hands, and move your energy to feeling the rib cage. So now squeeze the rib cage in and together, and then allow it to open. And that is what is lifting your upper body off the floor. So notice you're looking up. Remember, the weight of your head, which is approximately 8 to 10 pounds, is in your hands, and all the effort is coming in from opening and closing the ribs. 5 more. And 4. Now 3, 2, and 1. Excellent job. Both knees back in. Now take the arms out to the sides. Shoulder blades are pushed into the mat. Now legs come up about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit higher, wherever you'd like to place them. Now, but then on the same note, keeping the knee right over the hip joint. Now from there, allow your legs to move over to the right. And as the legs move right, think of your left shoulder. The minute you can't hold your left shoulder on the floor anymore, which for me would be right here, stop, squeeze and embrace from the rib cage and move the legs to the other side. And go again. So what dictates your range of motion is the connection of the back of your shoulders and your mat. It should stay connected the entire time. And now as your legs are moving, this is when you brace in from your center to engage your abdominals the most. And that comes from hugging the rib cage inward. But you have to breathe. So inhale one way and exhale the other. One more on each side. And center. Set your feet down, hands behind the head. Now come up, allowing your head to hover. Think rib cage. Squeeze in tight and release. And again, squeeze in tight and release. Inhale one way, exhale the other. Deepening the breath. Full inhale, full exhale. 4 more. And 3. Remember, you're holding the weight of your head. 2. And 1. Back down to the floor, arms out, legs come up. So feel the connection of your shoulders against the floor and allow the legs to go over to the right. Left shoulder stays down. And then up, contract from the center, and switch sides. And contract from the center. So as I'm moving, what I try to do is for each rep, I try to see if I can go a tiny bit further. I push my shoulder against the floor, and I see, oh, can I go a little bit more? And I go, and then I squeeze my abdominals and my rib cage in nice and tight to go to the other side. We have 4 more on each side. This is 3. And 2. And 1. And back to center. Both knees into the chest. And slowly bring yourself around. So let's move on to hands and knees. First things first, I want you to think about feeling very square. A lot of people call this tabletop, right? So both knees have the same amount of weight, both hands have the same amount of weight. You feel very centered. Slowly extend your right leg back and your left arm forward, lifting up parallel to the table, parallel to the floor. Now from here, when you feel stable, just simply move them an inch down and an inch up. Bracing from your center, taking your time. Your goal is to keep your body as steady as possible. So if you feel like you're moving around, try to move slower or maybe hold it in place until you feel steady. 5 more. and 4. Both hips parallel to the floor. 3, 2, and 1. The other side. And up. Inhale and exhale. Deepen the breath. Up and back down. 5 more. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Separate your knees, stretch back and hold. And back to center. So hold yourself here. Now, let's take one light weight. So again, we are keeping our tabletop, pulling in from the rib cage. Now elbow in and reach forward. Pull back, reach forward and back. Keeping your body weight very centered. Feeling the rib cage in and utilizing your breath as you move. 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other side, same thing. Center your weight and reach. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering the weight, bringing yourself back to tabletop. Right leg goes back, left arm forward, and lift and lower. Keeping both hip bones parallel to the floor. Deep breath and exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other side. And lift. Pull in from the ribs. Taking your time, keeping the body nice and steady. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. So keeping yourself squared and balanced. Elbow comes in and reach forward and back. Out and back. Now remember, when you're using weights, and actually any kind of resistance, you want it to feel slightly challenging, but not so challenging that you're struggling through the movement. So you want to be able to move smoothly through your range of motion with good form and technique. 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other side. Elbow in and reach. Four, 3, 2, and 1. Place the weight down. Let's come back to center for a second. Placing your legs any way you want to. Reach one arm across the chest, sitting up tall. And now the other side. Now same arm reaches up and back. Press back and hold. And then the other side comes up and back. Okay, we have one more series of 2 other movements. Are you ready? Back to all fours. This time, shift your weight forward in a tricep push-up position. You're bracing in from your center. Think shoulder blades. It's the same retraction we did with the tubing, but now with the body weight. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and release. Making sure that you're bracing in from your center, so in theory, you're creating a straight line from the tip of your head all the way to your knees as best as possible. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, down to the elbows. The weight is in the elbows, again, creating that straight line. Now think of your glute. We're going to start with the right. Contract the glute and release. Contract and release. Bracing in from your center. It's basically a plank position. And then squeezing the muscle of your glute in order to lift the leg. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Other side, contract and release. Pull in from the abdominals, 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Let's do this one more time. Back up into your tricep push-up position. Think shoulder blades, and squeeze and release. Bracing in from the center. Full inhale, full exhale, so it feels like all your body weight is in your arms, and the elbows are not bending or straightening. The movement is strictly coming from the shoulder blades. 3, 2, and 1. Now down, working on your glutes, contract and release. Remember the straight line from the tip of the head all the way to the knees. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other side, up, contracting the muscle to lift. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We did it. Okay. Now, sitting with both feet a little wider than your hips. Big deep breath here, and exhale and hinge. Now, as you lift, left hand goes behind the head and rotate to the left, not using your arms, strictly your upper body, leading with your left elbow and center. Let's do the same to the right. And up. Again, hinge, left side. And hinge, right side. And back to center. Both feet come in. Inhale here and exhale. Just shift your weight forward. Just enough to feel the stretch in the inner thighs. And hold. And release. Now, both hands behind the head. So this is what I'd like you to do, is use your hands for resistance. First, we stretch chin to chest. On the way up, I want you to resist with your hands. And again, chin to chest. Resist. Chin to chest. Resist. 2 more. Chin to chest. Resist. 1 more time. Chin to chest. And up, hold here. Rotate over to the left. Lead with your left elbow. Now extend both arms out. Hands behind the head. Back to center, right side. Lead with your right elbow. Arms go out. Back in. And back to the front. 1 more time. Reach out. And in. Right side. And center. So dropping the arms down, right arm goes down, left arm up and over. So as you reach for this side stretch, think about pressing your left hip into the floor and hold. And release, other side. Up and over, pressing the right hip into the floor and hold. Let's do that 1 more time. Left side, up and over. And the other side, up and over. And release. So extending your left leg out, cross the right leg over. Inhale here, and exhale and hinge. And now lift the knee and turn. And release the other side, same thing. Crossing the foot over, big deep breath. Exhale and hinge. And knee up and rotate. And release. So again, sitting any way you'd like. Let's bring the ear to the shoulder, pressing the opposite shoulder down. Release, deep breath. Exhale, one more time. And release, other side, ear to shoulder, press the shoulder down. Release, deep breath. And exhale. And release, both arms forward, rotating around the wrist, exaggerating the turn so you feel everything going on in the forearms as well. Now the other direction, all the way around. And let that all go. Thank you so much for joining me in today's class. Go out there, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, and of course, keep the body moving. Until next time, bye for now.